I have a lot of time to think. I ride my bike quite a lot, and I have quite a lot of time to think about stuff. What the hell is going on with football boots these days, Peps? Let's talk a bit about the technology in footy boots, because I was also in Rebel Sport just perusing. Do you know the cost of an AFL for a football boot these days?
Look, we had a bit of a chat about this a little bit earlier today, and I did do a little bit of research when it came into this. And let's just say that I didn't get hit by Jimmy Webster, but I almost did get a concussion from looking at the prices of football boots these days.
Yes.
And the worst thing is they're made of plastic. They're not even leather.
Wow. I went down the rabbit hole, Peps, I must say. Can I tell you the rabbit hole that I went down?
Let's just go through a bit of the rabbit hole that
Okay.
you went down, because then I'll tell you a bit of the rabbit hole that I went down.
Oh, rightio.
This topic, because I think this is a topic even bigger than just the price of football boots. I think it's just the price of sport, full stop.
Oh, rightio. Okay, so I start with my rabbit hole here.
Yep.
I'm looking down at my shoes, my cycling shoes. And I'm looking at it going, there's dials, there's this, there's that, there's technology built in, it's carbon plated, there's different factors of carbon, there's dials, there's aero shaping, there's holes. It's basically all in there. There's a pedal system involved. I look at football boots and I think to myself, for 100 years plus, what have these things done? And then I looked at the price of football boots, Peps, and there's the price for what I don't, and this is a conversation I want to take you down later, is $370 for a pair of football boots. That was my first fall over moment. The second fall over moment was I went on, if you go on to, I suppose Rebel website now, if you want to play along with us.
Yep.
If you go to Nike, there is something like 30 different models of football boots. There is Tiempos, there are Vulture something else's, there's a Vulture Fly something there's a sock type, there's a not sock type, there's swirls on the boots, where the hell and what the hell has happened to the humble footy boot, Pep?
I'll tell you what, J-Dog. It's as simple how it gets for me, my friend. When you play football, there's only one type of boot that you should be wearing, and they're black. Black boots. Black boots are coming back. When I was growing up, and I know one guy who's on here with me, Lee Mack, we used to play a bit of footy together as juniors. And all we had was the basic, I don't even remember these. They were a black Adidas boot with fluoro green Adidas stripes. And the Adidas stripes were like a crinkle cut. They weren't the actual...
on the edges.
On the edges, right?
Yep.
Everybody wanted them.
Classic.
Everybody wanted them.
Mm-hmm.
Then, as you got a little bit older, right, you then started to go into, okay, I'm getting into senior footy. I want to get myself a proper pair of boots. But you wouldn't pay anything more than about $150 at the most. And that pair would last you for 6 seasons. All right? And you'd have two pairs. You'd have a pair of screw-ins and you'd have a pair of molds as well. All right? Because you've got to adapt to the conditions. So you'd be up, but you wouldn't buy that every single year. The screw-ins would last you 6, 7, 8 years because you'd only use them when they were really, really wet. You'd probably go through the other ones every 3, 4 years, depending on how much. I used to go through a lot more because I'd wear out the toe from all the possessions that I'd be getting. I'm hitting people lace out week after week. But it usually came down to two types of boots. It was either the Puma King.
Yep.
Or it was the Adidas Copa Mundial. They were the two. They were black. They were kangaroo leather. They were molds. They were... That is what you aimed for. And then it started to grow in. The blades came out.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Adidas Predator boots came out.
Predators were good.
The Adidas had the wedge. The Adidas wedge. I don't know if you remember.
Yes.
Yep, the wedge boot. You then the Tiempo came in and really set everything off. And then the colors started to come in. It wasn't just white boots. It was pink. It was orange. It was blue. It was white. And everything started to come in. And it looked like a pack of Fruit Loops running around the field between 2 and 4 every weekend. But they're made of plastic, J-Dog. Like, they're not leather.
No,
Everything
no.
leather boots. Leather boots.
Peps, let me take you down a rabbit
Now,
hole.
they're all synthetic
Thank
crap.
you.
And
So
they
let me
don't mold to your foot. And they
let me take you down my rabbit hole now, Peps. Welcome to the J Wall J Dog rabbit hole that I went down. So then I went down and I thought to myself, well, what is up with this tech? Okay? So synthetics. I've always known footy boots, as you said there, Peps. Kangaroo leather was the duck's nuts. It was soft, it was supple, it molded around your foot, and it was hardy. And then I'm like, well, what's going on here? So then the synthetic boot came in, Peps, because a synthetic boot meant that it never retained water, so it was lighter, which meant more agile, which meant increased speed across the ground. And this is the rabbit hole, Peps, that I'm going down here. So then it becomes around, do you want the traditional leather which gets wet and heavy, kicking a wet and heavy ball? And it goes back to our footy talk, our first show. Or do you want a light boot that doesn't take on water, which is a lighter boot to run around in, but probably doesn't last you? And this is the next point. I'm hearing reports of footy boots are going through 2 pairs a season now, with kids and adults.
Who's going through 2 pairs a season?
Training and playing. They're running through 2 boots a season.
Is that crap, J-Dog?
I'm hearing Peps. This is what I have seen and I have heard from others. They are buying 2 pairs of boots a season.
I'm looking at some of the boots now on the Rebel website. We're not affiliated with Rebel, but if you want to throw up a couple of pairs, we give them away. But I'll take leather any day of the week. I think that the plastic ones are going to look shit. They look great when they're dry, but when they're dirty, no good. The second thing is that I actually want a proper boot that I can feel on my foot. They're not going to split. They're going to age well. For kids, not as much. But if I'm an adult and I'm going to be living in this, I want to invest in a proper pair of boots. And I've just never been a fan of the synthetic ones. I've tried them, never liked them. So my entire career, mind you, I retired 10 years ago. There's been a little bit of advancement in footwear technology since then.
Has there though, Peps?
Well, yeah, there has, J-Dog. I'm looking at a lot. Like I said, when I finished, you had 2 colours to choose from, predominantly black or white.
So we're talking about in 100 years of technology, you've got blades and colours. Is that what you're saying? In 100 years, blades and colours are the only 2 things we've brought out, and we're charging $370 for a pair of those?
Different materials, different light.
What materials?
I don't know what they're made of. You try and find me the synthetic cow that they breed the boots off, or
This comes back to my issue. Why are we? Well, not we, because we don't play. But why?
I'm going to ask you the same. You're a bike rider, mate.
Yes.
Seriously, they're carbon, aren't they?
But I can tell you why.
How? There's no difference, mate. There's no difference for a weekend bike rider from a bike with carbon that costs $2,000 for someone who's going to pay $10,000 for a carbon bike. I can't justify it. You can.
I can.
Boots.
So this is the thing, but I know that there is absolutely technology built into my expensive high-end bike versus a very low-end bike, which then brings me to my next point, Peps. Is there a top, a mid, and a low-range football boot? Or are they all just the same thing at the end of the day?
There are top end.
So can you define that for me?
Yep. So I'd be going a top-end boot would be... it depends. If you're a synthetic guy, if you're looking at brands, the Tiempos seem to be the big dog. The Asics Lethal brand as well too. Very popular. Very, very popular. They just look to be better made. They have a longer, thicker sole. The heel cup looks actually a lot thicker as well too, especially the padding around the top of the ankle as well. That's where I'd be saying high-end boot. I'd also throw in your Puma King and Copa, because if you actually look up the Copa, they look exactly the same as they did 30 years ago. No different.
Perfect.
They're perfect boots. I'd then say have your mid-range, which would be probably not it'd be like a hybrid synthetic. I don't know if there's such a thing. Full-blown synthetics that you get. It's like a halfy. And then you just get the really cheap stuff for the cheapest brands as well too. You probably got normal stops. You haven't got the wider, thicker stops around the base. I think the construction and probably the materials that go into it not as good as well too. So, but here's the thing: I don't care how good the boots are. I don't care how good your bike is. If you don't know how to find the pill or how to pedal, they're a waste.
I do agree, but when you go shopping for boots or when you did Peps,
Yep.
when I go shopping for bike parts or a new bike, I'm looking at performance. Like for me, performance matters. So I'm looking at the type of carbon they've used, the aero shaping of the profiles, the wheels, the package, the components. When you're looking at footy boots, is performance something that you are looking at?
No, me, like I said, all I'm looking for in a pair of boots is to be able to keep my feet dry. They're going to be light. I can wet them. I can dry them. I can throw the nugget and polish them up, and they're going to last me a long time. That's it. That's all I'm asking for.
So when you look at the
Never
boots,
over synthetic any day of the week.
so when you look at footy boots, then and you see them with swirls and cuts and grooves and things, which are let's not beat around the bush. These are designed for more soccer than AFL football.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Is there a niche in the market for a specialist AFL boot? Like there used to be. Remember the old blunt toe ones and all those sorts of other.
No, I don't think there is.
Or was it the hook? Was it the hook one that had the hook at the toe? What was the?
No, that was that. No, that was.
Who was that?
No, that was the Iron Sheik, mate. That was the Iron Sheik in the WWF days. He had the hook boots. I know what you're saying. No, look, I don't think there is. A boot's a boot.
Carbon. What about carbon soled boots? You know how we've got the
What?
Nike Vaporfly, the 4%ers and the next percent. Like these are like the carbon soled with the cushion, and basically they give you bounce. Do you think footy boots could incorporate something like that?
It could, but we don't run in straight lines. Like soccer, a lot of it is straight line running. We're all over the joint. We've got to twist. We've got to turn. We've got to turn on a dime. We're going to have to push off. I just think that everyone's individual. You just need a pair of boots that are comfortable on your foot, that give you the stability that you need, and they feel comfortable when you kick the ball.
Yeah.
That is the reason. Full stop.
Why don't we see? And I don't have my cycling shoes behind me. Why don't we see? So I've got sort of my cycling shoes sort of tucked in there, which is one of my cycling shoes.
Yep.
That's got laces.
Yep.
In my other cycling shoes, I have boa dials. So you might have seen them on ski boots.
Yep.
Very common in that.
Or the Puma discs.
Puma disc. There we go. Which close your shoe over so it's a nice flat surface.
Yep.
I would say ideal technology for football adaptation.
No.
Why don't we do something? Why doesn't someone do that?
Because all you have to do is, if I saw someone and I was playing on a bloke with those, I'd kick him in the foot to undo his wheels. I'm serious. No, you need laces. I will say, and look, there's been comments coming in saying I'm a grandpa because I go black boots and leather, etc. And you know what? So I am. I'm a grandpa. Bloody superstar grandpa. But Tommy Racker says the biggest reason for poor kicking is laces. Maybe I don't agree. I think it's the newer balls haven't been kicked in, and they're actually quite hard to kick and control. So I think it's the ball to a degree.
So change the ball
I
to a
think
new fabric.
They only used to use one ball in a game, two balls in a game. Now they use 8 balls.
Synthetic balls you're calling for.
No. The balls need to be kicked in. The leather ball.
You are talking my language now. You want to revolutionise the game with a synthetic ball.
No, we just shut up. They just need to kick the ball in, mate. Just kick it in. And you know what? The gun footballers had the same boots as the other footballers who couldn't kick. So it's a skill issue. It's not to do with the boots that they wear. That's just no.
Are blades still a thing?
Yeah, I think North were sponsored by them up until a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Are screw-ins still a thing?
No, AFL you cannot wear screw-ins.
Not AFL.
Nope, not even allowed to wear screw-ins at junior levels as well.
Right. Okay. So now it's just molds.
It's just molds. Yep.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yep. So basically, from what I can surmise from your points, there is no difference in a $370 boot to a $100 boot, other than
you know what the difference is?
What?
Ego. That's the only difference.
What would you buy? Your money, what would you buy?
If I could buy a pair of boots...
I'm talking about like the $300 version of X boot versus the $100 version of X boot. What would you buy?
I'd go mid-range.
Somewhere in the middle?
Yep. I'd go somewhere in the middle.
Because of performance?
No, don't see the value in paying $300 for a pair of football boots
So why would you not buy the $100 pair then?
because I know that they're not going to be made as well.
Ah, so it's a price and perception thing for you.
No, it's not a price of perception thing. I've bought cheap boots and they've exactly that.
They've
Poor man
clapped
pays
out.
twice. And so I set myself a limit and go, that's exactly the way. We're podcasting right now. We've got 2 different microphones. There's a limit I'll pay for a microphone. There's a hell of a lot better. There's a better version of this. It's going to cost me $600. Can't afford it. Don't need to.
Yep.
Okay.
Are you,
In time, you never know.
would you be influenced by guys at the club?
No.
No, you would.
They want to spend their money. Go for it.
Yeah. What about young Peps? Take me back to a 22-year-old Peps. Good money.
Yeah.
Would you be buying the best kangaroo leather boots out there?
Yeah, I would try and get myself a pair of Kings, or I always went for the Kings. Yeah, I was a King man. I wasn't the Copers. I went for the Kings. Yeah,
Yeah.
Kings
enough.
or the Kappas. I actually had a pair of Kappas for about 6 years.
Did you?
Yeah, they were great boots. Kappas.
I-
The last pair I've got them in the cupboard. Puma Kings, white and blue.
So essentially, you're saying there's no difference in the performance of the boots between a mid and a top tier boot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just whether the ego gets in the
I
way.
reckon. Yeah, I reckon. You couldn't tell me. A good player couldn't tell me. Yeah, they might be a little bit lighter, but outside of that, still got to kick it. Still got to handball it like I handball that handball with my feet.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
It is interesting. But hang up. I'm not the only one here. What are the like? Tommy Roker's gone absolutely berserk on the chat now, saying that he's literally given us a whole history on boots on the chat here. But for the listeners out there, for the viewers out there, are we wrong with boots? Would you pay low end hundreds, or would you go into that $300 echelon, even more for a pair of boots? What would you do?
And when you're shopping for boots, are you performance based or is it just on looks?
So if they looked awesome, but they were really shitty made, or they looked crap, but they were really well built, which one would you go for? I know which one I'd go for.